Welcome in, everybody, to episode 8 of Destination Dynasty. I'm your host, Matt Heckman, joined by Martin Sokolsky. Martin, how you doing today?
Doing all right. Got to see a little AAA baseball today. It was 105 heat index, so it wasn't very pleasant, but we got to see a little bit Moises Ballesteros and some Max Clark, so it's a good day.
How'd Max Clark look?
Sweaty. No, he was fine. He didn't have any. He had nothing defensively. He had one ball in center field. It was in the 9th inning, and a couple of pedestrian fly balls. Nothing great. So.
All right, nice. Yeah, it's gonna be so hot. I felt today was only where I'm at is only a high of 90 today, I think. And I was like, it is way too hot. And then I was like, this is the coolest day it's gonna be for the rest of the week. So
Yeah.
that stinks. It's gonna be 102 on Thursday, 101 on Friday. So that's terrible. I'm not looking
Yes.
forward to that.
Correct.
Stay inside, everybody. Stay inside. All right, as I'm sure you guys know, based on my lucky introduction for Jacob was unable to join us today, so it'll just be me and Martin. We're going to start with some breaking news. Since the last time we recorded, we're recording today is June 30th. This will come out on Sunday. It's a new month, so it's harder for me to do the math there. I believe that is July 5th. Because the 4th is Saturday. That makes it a little bit easier. So July 5th, last time we recorded was a couple weeks ago. So some of this news might not be breaking, but is news since we last recorded. So Jackson Wiggins and Kaelen Cullpepper both are back from injury. They're both playing in AAA. Both are prospects that dynasty managers and redraft managers have kind of been expecting to make their major league debut this year. Martin, how imminent do you think a debut is for either one of those prospects?
Well, I'm hoping it's not imminent for Wiggins because he's been out for quite a while, and I know the Cubs are desperate for pitching, but
Yeah.
you don't want to rush him. I mean, even though you're competitive, you've got the resources to go out and make some trades. You've got prospects available to make some trades to add arms, and they've already, acquired David Peterson. They're trying to do everything they can to add bodies. But Wiggins is not a guy that I want to see anytime before August. I think he needs to get built back up. And I think he's such a key part of their future that there's no point in rushing him back, even if you're in a playoff hunt.
Yeah, I completely agree. His last start was the most encouraging. He's down in high A still, but 3.2 innings, 4 strikeouts. The biggest key was 0 walks. Love to see that. Hopefully the walks stay in check. Kaelen Cullpepper, I think, has a little bit of a more accelerated timeline and path to the major leagues, especially with the trade deadline coming up. We're just a month away from the trade deadline. That is crazy to me that we're already approaching that. But Cullpepper is somebody I think dynasty managers should be really excited about. Martin, I know you are equally excited about Cullpepper's dynasty potential as well. Moving on to major league news, Wyatt Langford is back on the injured list. Hamstring injury. He's always straining something, it seems like, at this point. We're going to get into outfield a little bit later, but I know dynasty managers are starting to wonder how reliable Wyatt Langford really is going to be in the future. Martin, do you have any quick thoughts on Langford?
I think it's just frustrating. I mean, we've seen soft tissue injury after soft tissue injury. It seems like these guys that are super bulky, the Langfords, the Luis Roberts, the Eloy Jimenez, those guys get those soft tissue injuries. They're just so big, and it just keeps happening for Langford, and it's super frustrating because he was finally starting to hit for average, which is something that we haven't seen from him previous to 2026. And now that he's got the power and the speed, and he's hitting for average, and now he's hurt again. And this is one of those things where it's like, I still want him and think he's a top 50 dynasty asset, but I'm really starting to want to drop him down the rankings because half the battle is just being on the field. And we've seen it with guys like, we'll talk about Buxton later on, but guys like Jordan Lawler, guys like that, you know what they're capable of, but can they stay on the field? And that right now he can't.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The one other piece of news I wanted to bring up, especially as we segue into outfield, is Esmerlyn Valdez is back first base. He's playing some outfield for the Pirates. Prospect, their big kid. He struggled in a very small sample size. The hit tool is pretty raw, but he's been absolutely crushing the baseball since returning. I watched him demolish a home run off Aaron Nola yesterday. He's got a home run in 4 straight games. Hopefully he does not hit a home run in the game I have on the TV behind my screen. I don't want to see him hit a 5th home run in 5 games, but absolutely crushing the baseball. Is this something that dynasty managers and even regular redraft managers should be buying into, or are you a little bit skeptical this hot streak continues?
I mean, we've seen him do it before. This is a kid that's got some big time raw power. You're right, the hit tool is very, very raw. But at the same time, I mean, this is a team in the Pirates that has definitely started to play their young kids, and he's a guy that's going to be a future piece for them, cornerstone piece for them. I saw him out in the fall league last year, very solid player, really good power, really good swing. I mean, he dominated out there, and he's already got 6 home runs in his first 50 at bats in the majors. I mean, he's doing something right. So even if he regresses a little bit, we're still looking at a guy that should be a 20 to 25 home run bat every year. But I would be a little leery on the batting average. I think we're looking at a guy that's going to probably hit somewhere between 235 and 250, 260 maybe at his best year. So, but yeah, he's a guy I would definitely buy into, and a guy that I'd be trying to target and redraft if I can get him off the wire or in a trade.
Yeah, I think I really missed an opportunity in one of the pitcherless dynasty leagues. Unique rule there, Martin. I know you played in the league for a few years. You promote a prospect, you can't send him back down to your minor league roster, so that takes up a roster spot. We don't have very deep benches in that league as well. So he was on a team. They promoted him to their major league roster, and then when he got demoted back to AAA, he was a cut casualty actually. I wasn't paying attention, busy schedule, missed him available on the waiver wire, missed the opportunity to add him to my team. But I think that kind of speaks to the sentiment that people aren't fully bought in to what Esmerlyn Valdez can really do. I think this is a perfect example of what he can do. Like, that power is immense, but he's going to be streaky. I think that's just what it's going to be for a little while, but definitely a player that you should be buying. And I think the outfield eligibility helps too, especially in 5 outfielder leagues there, whereas if he's just a first baseman, I think the value is kind of capped.
Yeah. And if anyone's watching the video later on and you saw my face, Wilson Contreras just jumped up and threw his helmet at Cade Cavalli at a scrum. The benches are emptied at Fenway. And of course, Wilson Contreras is in the middle of it because
I was like, he's been in the
not?
middle of things for 3 straight days, right? He did something with the Yankees the other day. And then he got ejected yesterday, right, for tapping his helmet, which was a little soft. And now can they not eject Cavalli? Martin, you're gonna have to keep me updated here. We were talking
Cavalli did
before.
nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. All he did was strike him out.
Okay, so Contreras is just being irony. I have Contreras also on my guillotine team that I was talking about. So they're both on the same team.
He's going to get a guillotine from Rob Manfred here in a few minutes. Jeez.
Yeah, he's going to be suspended at this point. Okay, back to Destination Dynasty here. For those who've been following along this series, we've been breaking down how dynasty value has been changing at different positions. Landscape's constantly changing between prospect promotions, injuries, struggles, breakouts, everything of the sort. So we already did first base, we did middle infield, we did third base. I encourage anybody who missed those episodes to go check those out. Really, really helpful information. At least I think it's helpful information. It's helpful for me talking it through with Martin and Jacob when we're all here as we go through the different rankings, then evaluating some prospects too that we can all keep an eye on. Today we're going to do outfield, and outfield's a little bit more complicated. Just it's a deeper position, right? Each major league team has 3 outfielders. Each fantasy team, most standard leagues have 5 outfielders. And so it can be really, really complicated to keep track of all the outfielders. Sometimes a position can feel really thin to me, and then other times it can feel really deep. And I'm like, how is that guy on the waiver wire? Some of that's league dependent. But Martin, do you have any advice for dynasty managers on how to handle outfield?
Yeah, the first thing I wrote down was get them early and often and build quality depth, because there's just the position seems really strong, but there's some pretty clear drop-offs along the way. And we're going to get into that a little bit later on. But ideally for me, I would like to have 2 guys that are top 20 to top 25 at the position, and then hopefully get 2 to 3 to 4 even guys within that like top 60 to 70 range. Like, I really want the depth, because you got to remember, platoons are very, very potent. They're very, very prevalent in the outfield. Everybody's in a platoon situation. We've got like 15 to 20 guys who are regular everyday guys, and the rest of them are all platoons. So especially if you're playing in a daily league, that depth is important, because some days you're just going to have, 3 of your lefty outfielders are not going to play that day because their teams are facing left-handed pitching. It's just how it goes. I mean, guys like Brandon Marsh have played their way into full-time roles, but even he was a platoon guy entering 2026. So the depth is the biggest thing for me at the position, and then obviously trying to find balance as well. Batting average is at a premium anymore in the majors, so it's pretty easy to find power and it's pretty easy to find speed. So if you can find a guy that's got a good floor for batting average, those top 10 guys generally have a pretty high floor. That's a good start for that, and then just building depth and making sure that you've got prospects coming up behind them too. So
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Prospect depth. I feel like you hear a stars and scrubs strategy in auctions a lot of times, but I think it's a strategy that can work for outfield if it's done right. Not scrubs in the sense that you want bad players, but scrubs in the point where you can find value, whether that's overlooked prospects, whether that is the platoon players, especially like you mentioned in daily leagues when you're able to switch in and out of your lineup. If you've got a couple of outfielders and they're all just they mash against righties, or you have a couple that mash against lefties, you can mix and match for those last couple spots. I don't think you need to have 5 elite outfielders, but you need to make sure you have a couple, because the one dynasty team I have now, it's like I feel like I have depth and I have no foundation to build off of. I have like say a Suzuki, he's okay. Tyler Soderstrom's good, like a very solid piece, but he's not an outfield 1. Like he's fringe outfield 2, outfield 3 at a certain point in like a 12-team league. And so then I have like Dalen Lyle and Jacob Marcy, and it's just like I've got this depth and I don't have a star. I feel like you need to have a stars and scrubs strategy is something that I would suggest. I would suggest there. And then another point I liked was the prospects. I feel like that's where you can find a lot of overlooked players because it's really easy to give up. But then outfield's a position where you might get more opportunity in the major leagues, whether it's platoon, whether it's just you have 3 outfielders on a major league team. And so if second base is filled and you're a second baseman, well, that sucks. You're going to AAA unless you learn how to play first base or third base or something. But outfield, center field opens up, left field opens up, right field opens up. So I feel like you have more paths to opportunity. And that kind of leads us into one of the first big risers we're going to get to from early on this season has been Jordan Walker, outfielder for the St. Louis Cardinals. He is somebody that dynasty managers were really, really high on, and then he struggled. And then it seemed you could have bought Jordan Walker for pennies this offseason. He might have even been a free agent in some shallow dynasty leagues just based on how poorly he performed. And now he's one of the rising stars in the game. He's slashing 290, 343, 516, 18 home runs, 10 stolen bases. Martin, I know you acquired Jordan Walker, or you had Jordan Walker. You couldn't sell him for anything, and now you're thrilled to have him on one of your dynasty teams. What have you thought about his performance early on this season?
Yeah, I mean, I literally tried to give the guy away. I mean, nobody wanted him. I mean, I think I got him as a throw-in in a deal, and it's worked out really well because he's an MVP candidate at this point, and I think with Walker, and I've touched on this a couple of different places, but it's wild to think that he's so young still. I mean, he's younger than Paul Skeens. He's younger than PCA. Like this guy, I mean, he looks like Greg Oden. Like he looks like he's in his late 40s, but he's still young. Like I don't think he's even turned 24 yet. Maybe he just turned 24. But I mean, we're talking about a guy that was a big time prospect. He kind of had that big spring training, and then he, came to the majors, had a good rookie season, kind of got out of sorts over the next couple of years, and now this year he's put it all back together. And I mean, there's no reason not to buy what we're seeing. I mean, the quality of contact has always been very, very good. He's elite bat speed. I think he's got the highest bat speed in the league, or close to it, behind O'Neill Cruz. I mean, the bat to ball skills are starting to kind of come together a little bit. The plate discipline's still not great, but I mean, he's hitting the ball super, super hard. He's hitting the ball to all fields. He's hitting the ball out of the park. He's running. I mean, this is a guy that I'm all in on at this point. I'm so glad that nobody wanted him this offseason, because it's paid dividends for my team in a big way.
Yeah, I think, and I like Jordan Walker too. I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here and just kind of bring up what dynasty managers are surely thinking, right? 29% strikeout rate, 3% walk rate since the start of June. One of the big concerns, he whiffs over 40% of the time on everything that's not a fastball. And then if you look at the percentages in April, which was, I believe, if I look at his splits, that was his best month. Let's look. April, he hit 284 with 9 homers. He was almost as good in May, too. So, I mean, he's been good every month. But after April, that breaking ball percentage went from 33.4% up to 38.7%. That's up to 40% in June. The fastball percentage has dropped 51.9, 49.9, 49.7. So I'm a little bit worried, and I'm sure dynasty managers are having the same thought. Like, is that hit tool a big enough concern for you? Like the 290 average, say that drops the 250, 260, right? Is that a big enough concern for you to say he could be somebody to sell high on, or do you think the power and speed is enough?
No, I think it's okay because, like you said, it's still 50% of the time he's seeing a fastball, which is good. It's not like when we talk about the distribution of pitches they're seeing, right? The breaking pitches versus off speed versus, fastballs and things like that. I mean, we're saying that he's got big whiff rates against breaking pitches, and that's true, but not all breaking pitches are created equal, right? I mean, there's guys that are going to throw you really good ones. There's going to be Mizorowski's his sweeper slider is just filthy. Then you're going to have the Miles Michaelis that's going to have that big cement mixer that's going to land right over the middle of the plate, and Walker's going to hit it to Tallahassee. I mean, so it's going to be in between, right? So, but I don't know. For me, I look at the elite hitters in the league, and aside from guys like Yordan Alvarez, a lot of those guys have big swing and miss problems. I mean, if you look at Shohei, if you look at Judge, they've all got big swing and miss problems. It's just when they get it and they get going, they're unstoppable. And I think that Walker's got that potential in him. Even though he's going to struggle at times, everybody struggles at times. And he's just got one of those guys that's got so much raw talent that as he continues to mature, because he's still only 23, 24, I mean, I still think he's got a lot in him. And I'm, like I said, I'm really glad that nobody took him because he's having a great year. And I believe in the player, and I've always believed in the player. It just never seemed to want to click for him. So,
yeah. No, I was definitely very high on him. I think what you brought up is a good point too, because his zone swing percentage is really high. And so you can look at his chase percentage as being high, but his zone swing percentage is also really high. And he's making zone contact. It's a little below league average, but it's not terrible. And so he's punishing mistakes. And I think that's the biggest thing. And it's not just power. I'd be more concerned if it was just he had 18 home runs and he had 2 stolen bases and he's hitting 290. And I'm like, okay, I see a path for batting average regression there. It's probably going to go down into the 260-ish range. But whatever, when he has 10 stolen bases too, and he has an elite sprint speed, like if he can get to 20 stolen bases and be a 35 home run bat with 20 stolen bases, I don't care if he hits 250 or 290. He's going to be a great
Right.
fantasy asset. Another prospect here, Martin, another big riser from early this season. Yeah. Welcome to the Henry Bolte bandwagon here, Martin. He ranked inside of the top 160 in your updated top 400 dynasty rankings. I seem to remember another base hit for Kyle Schwarber, baby. I seem to remember a lot of back and forth, a lot of arguing. I think we even debated him a little on this podcast about Bolte wasn't going to get it done. He's off to a really good start in his major league career, slashing 295, 379, 381. The big statistic is 11 stolen bases already. What have you seen from him that you've liked and has him moving up your rankings?
He's really fast. No, yeah. I mean, right now, the thing is that he is getting the job done. But there are still a lot of red flags. A lot of red flags. The strikeout rate continues to creep up. He's got a negative barrel or negative launch angle. He's killed every worm in the greater California area. I mean, it's a 6% pull air rate, which is not great. He wasn't really pulling the ball in AAA a lot either, though. Like, he was hitting the ball at the opposite field, but he's only got 6 barrels so far. The EVs are really nice, but he's hitting the ball on the ground way, way too much. The swing and miss is still there, and he's really not even taking advantage of the ballpark that he's playing in. I mean, he's running the high BABIP, a 427 BABIP with a 299 overall average with an XBA of 231. So there's clearly regression coming. That said, the potential for stolen bases, the counting stats in that lineup, he's got value. I didn't think that he didn't have value if he got figured out. He got it figured out temporarily, but now we're starting to see some of those red flags again. So he's going to have to adjust. I want to see how he adjusts. If we're still talking about, a negative launch angle and a 70, nearly 70% ground ball rate come August 1st, I wouldn't be surprised if he was in AAA at that point. If that continues to be that, even though he's effective and he's doing things, at some point those adjustments have to be made. So I'm holding out hope that he'll get it figured out. I did move him up because he's producing, but I'm still very, very cautious. And I think that you understand that why I'd be cautious.
Yeah, I think all dynasty managers should be a little bit cautious. I do want to point to a few similarities just with Jordan Walker, right? We mentioned the high whiff rate. The whiff rate's high, but it's honestly not as high as I thought it could be. I thought that number could push 40% based on what I could see in the minor leagues a little bit. It's at 34.5%. But he's swinging a lot in the zone. His zone swing rate is 72.3%. His zone contact rate, very similar to Jordan Walker, up at 77.6%. Jordan Walker also had ground ball issues very early in his major league career as well. And so sometimes it just takes some time to work through things. I think one of the benefits for Bolte is his defense. He is a elite defender, really, really, really good defender out in center field. So I think that helps, and that'll help keep him in the lineup. The raw tools are off the charts. I mean, that's always been my thing. And you know this, Martin. Like, that's been my thing with Bolte. It's just the raw tools are so tantalizing. Like, that power, even if he doesn't pull the ball in the air, that raw power. Jordan Walker is another guy. He doesn't pull the ball in the air that much. It's higher than 6%. But it's not like he's one of those like 25% air pull guys. He hits the ball to all field just because that raw power is so nice. I think Bolte has very similar upside there. The ground ball rate is bad. It's a little bit different than a player like Justin Crawford because Bolte actually hits the ball hard on the ground. I think you can get away with a little bit more when it's hit hard versus hitting little dribblers at third base, which I'm tired of watching Justin Crawford do for the Phillies. But yeah, I think I pretty much agree with everything you said. I've been in on him a little bit more. I think the upside's elite. There are some red flags there. Dynasty managers need to be aware. Even redraft managers, keeper league managers, those who are relying on him for 2026, like there's a chance the rug could get pulled out from underneath. He has a couple unlucky months. Pitchers start throwing more breaking balls. It could get tough, but he's
There's
definitely
also a
somebody.
chance that he hits 20 home runs and steals 20 bases in the second half.
Yep, get that launch angle figured out, and then all of a sudden, the sky is the moon's the limit.
So there's a very, very wide range of outcomes for guys like Bolte.
Yeah, he's volatile, but sometimes you need that on your team. You need that upside there. On the flip side, the Jordan Walker and Bolte, Jackson Merrill is somebody who's kind of fallen down ranking and dynasty ranking lists, and it's kind of difficult to figure out what to do. I wanted last year to be an anomaly really, really badly with the injuries he dealt with. Like, he could never get into a rhythm. But this year he's slashing 213, 272, 345, 8 homers, 18 stolen bases. Steals are really nice. So the power's not bad. Like 15 to 20 home run pace. That's not bad at all. He's still only 23 also, but at what point are you ignoring a bad hit tool versus being patient with somebody you have that has a lot of potential? Like, when should dynasty managers start to be concerned about Jackson Merrill's hit tool, or is now the time to be concerned?
Now's the time. The hit tools regress terribly. Each season, the hit tools continue to regress, and that's one of those things because if you remember when he's a prospect, the hit tool was like his carrying tool, right? Like it was like he was a guy that was going to hit 300 every year. He was and at the time he was playing in the infield. I mean, he was legit. Like, the hit tool was very, very polished, and it's just gone away. I don't know if he's selling out for power. I don't know if it's something related to the injury. I don't know if it's team philosophy, but the hit tool is very bad. And the thing is like his batting average is low. He does have a higher XBA, which is a little bit encouraging. He's had a little bit of batted ball luck, but it's not great. He's still hitting the ball fairly hard, which is a positive. He's, like you said, he's running. But yeah, the hit tool is concerning. And the other part of it too is the Padres are terrible. we've talked about this before in this podcast. They're horrible. Like their stars are not performing. Machado's been terrible. Tatis is finally starting to figure it out, but that whole team has been underachieving for half a decade now, and they continue to invest thinking that they're going to make a run. They're never going to make a run. This is not a team that's got the skills to make a run. It's just not happening. And with Merrill, I mean, I continue to drop him and drop him and drop him, but it's like I don't know how far I want to drop him. Do I want to put him down, into the 125 to 150 range until he figures things out? Do I want to bank on the upside and hope that he gets it figured out quickly? Right now, I'm in limbo with Merrill. I think that there's definitely some concerns to be had there.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think it's also a matter of you need to adjust expectations. Even if he gets better, he's never going to be that top. I don't think he's ever going to become that top 20 player that we really wanted him
Yeah.
to become, especially playing in that ballpark. I mean, it's just so rough for lefties. It's got one of the worst park factors out there for lefties. So I think it's really just there's a lot to like when you dig in. Like you said, he hits the ball in the zone a lot. He swings a lot in the zone. His whiff rate's not terrible. The EVs are fine, but it's difficult to get excited and see the path for a Jordan Walker rise, even though he's only 23 years old. Another player who continues to plummet down dynasty rankings. Red Sox own Jaren Duran. 2 years ago, hit 285. Last year hit 256. This year he's hitting 197. He's still stealing. He's also up to 12 home runs. Power metrics look good. The BABIP shouldn't be 246, but the chase and whiff rates are so much higher than usual. It's like he just wants to hit everything out of the ballpark, and I don't really think that fits his profile.
No, ever since he bulked up, it's been the year that Tyler O'Neill was in Boston really screwed Duran over because Duran got super huge and just started just pumping iron. And now I mean, if you ever see this guy with a cutoff t-shirt, it's like his arms don't end. They just keep going. And his issue right now is that he has never seen a pitch that he didn't like. He'll swing at something that's in the dirt. He'll swing at something that's way over his head. Inside, outside, it doesn't matter. He'll swing and miss at everything. And the other part of it too is he needs out of Boston. He is clearly uncomfortable there. There's been a lot of incidents that have happened dating back to his issue with the fan behind the plate. He's had run-ins with fans over the last couple of weeks even. I mean, this is a guy that really needs a change of scenery in a bad way. And if you believe the stuff that you read from the Bob Nightingales and people like that, doesn't seem like many people want Duran. And that's discouraging too, because the Red Sox are going to be stuck with this guy. And for whatever reason, he's just it's boom or bust with him. He'll go on a tear, he'll hit, 3 or 4 home runs in a 2 or 3 day span, and then he'll go and strike out 15 times in a row. It's just and it didn't used to be like that, but he started selling out for power when he got big, and now he's not hitting the ball on a regular basis anymore. That the contact rates are way down, and it's just getting ugly there, and it's going to continue to get ugly because he's too sensitive to play in the city, and then he's underperforming on top of it. It's just going to continue to spiral for him. So I'm
Yeah.
very out on Duran.
Yeah, I do not like Jaren Duran either. I think you could see the regression coming, even if the power and speed are going to be okay. You could see the regression coming. You worry if he gets traded to a different team, does he end up sitting against lefties? He's been pretty bad against lefties. He doesn't hit for any power against lefties. So what do you do there? He doesn't seem like a good clubhouse guy. Maybe they love him inside of the clubhouse, but he does not seem like somebody that's going to boost team morale. So I think you're exactly right. What Major League Ball Club wants to bring him in the middle of the season, unless you're desperate. There's always rumors about the Phillies because they seem to be getting more and more desperate for outfield help. But yeah, Jaren Duran, if you're a dynasty manager, I think Martin can agree with me. If you can find somebody who values that name and that production in the past, and you can point to the EVs and bat speed and things like that, go trade Jaren Duran now, because I don't think the dynasty value is going to get much better. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the fun part of the podcast here. We're going to share our outfield rankings. We're going to do our top 25 outfielders, and we're going to discuss some of the differences here. Martin, I'm going to turn it over to you. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go through my top 25 here. So we've got Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna Jr., Corbin Carroll, Aaron Judge. I've got J Rod at 5, but I really want James Wood to be actually, I want James Wood to be at 4. I really am thinking that this guy is just really ridiculous. I've got Jackson Churio, Kyle Tucker, who I've gotten a lot of heat about having this high, Yordan Alvarez, Fernando Tatis Jr., Wyatt Langford, who's going to drop a little bit, PCA, O'Neill Cruz, Byron Buxton, Michael Harris II, Randy Rosarena, Andy Pajes, Cody Bellinger, Jordan Walker, Brett Rooker, Riley Green, Seiya Suzuki, Roman Anthony, who's going to be dropping as well, Jackson Merrill, who's going to be dropping as well, and then Tyler Soderstrom.
And what range do the top 25 outfielders cover for you in your Dynasty rankings? I should have asked you that before, so you had that prepared. But
yeah, you're fine. Go ahead and go through yours, and I'll tell you. All I know is that in my notes, we're talking about Carson Benge a little bit here. I've got Benge inside the top 150, and he's my 38th ranked outfielder. So it's pretty
deep, yeah.
That's
interesting. I have Juan Soto leading the pack. I am all in on James Wood as reflected in my rankings. I have him at number 2. Corbin Carroll matches Martin at number 3. I have Ronald Acuna down at number 4. Love the player. Worried about the consistent injuries. Aaron Judge at 5. Yordan Alvarez at 6. Jackson Churio at 7. Pete Crow Armstrong comes in at number 8 for me. What a change from early in the season when we were saying, do you need to be out on him? Julio Rodriguez comes in at 9. I'm a little lower than consensus there. Fernando Tatis at 10. Cody Bellinger, 11. Carson Benge up at 12 for me. So big difference. We'll get into Benge in a little bit. Benji, whatever you want to call him. Kyle Tucker comes in at 13. Michael Harris comes in at 14. Wyatt Langford at 15. I swapped Harris and Langford earlier today based on the Langford news, updating a little bit of my rankings there. Jordan Walker comes in at 16. Jac Caglianone comes in at 17. Roman Anthony at 18. O'Neill Cruz 19. Andy Pajes at 20. Chase Lauder at 21. Tyler Soderstrom 22. Riley Green 23. Byron Buxton 24. And oh god, I always struggle with his name. Josue De Paula. Yeah, comes in at number 25 for me. So I actually land with a prospect inside of my top 25. And if I look at my rankings, where is De Paula? Paula.
Soderstrom is 85 for me. So my cutoff is Soto's number 3 in my overall, and it goes 3 to 85 for my top 25 outfielders.
Mine is 3 to 93. So pretty similar there in terms of our overall rankings. They're not too much of a discrepancy. Martin, you mentioned how you want to buy in and be in on James Wood. What are you seeing from him that should have dynasty managers really considering him to be one of the elite at the position? He already is considered to be one of the elite, but the elite of the elite.
Yeah. I mean, there's just everything that I see is just, he's just ridiculous. I mean, we knew when he was a prospect that he was special, but I think we're seeing even more, another layer. I think he's gone up a level even since then. I mean, we're talking about a guy that at some point will hit 50 home runs. I mean, he can run a little bit still. He's very athletic. I mean, he's starting to hit for a little bit higher of an average. There's still some swing and miss concerns. There's still some ground ball issues. He's not even really pulling the ball that much, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's still hitting the ball the other way, but his power is just so immense that he's just going to continue to do it. I mean, we're just getting to the tip of the iceberg of what this kid's going to do. I think he's going to hit 40 home runs this year. I think he's going to do it pretty easily, to be honest with you. He might even flirt with 50. And this is an offense. If you've watched them play, they're dangerous. They're really dangerous in that offense. So I think he's just going to continue to get better. I think he's going to continue to improve his counting stats. And I mean, at some point he's going to be, I don't think he'll get to Soto's level because of Soto's plate skills, but Wood is going to be a top 5 fantasy outfielder for a very long time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think getting into some of the differences here in our rankings, Carson Benge, you mentioned you have him down at 38. I have him way up at 12, which I know is very high. So what is your hesitation, I guess, to buying in? Like, what are you seeing from him versus what am I seeing that has you lower?
Yeah, I just want to see a little bit more from him as far as a sample size. I mean, I think that there's potential there. I think he's a guy that's going to hit for a pretty decent average. We know that he's going to be a really good defensive player. I love watching him play defense. I think he's fantastic defensively. The power is certainly going to come. He's going to be a pretty easy 2020 guy moving forward. I just want to see a little bit more sample size from him. And we'll talk about Cags in a little bit too. Caglianone is another guy I want to see a little bit more of because there's still some flaws in that profile. But I think Benge has a more solid, he's got a higher floor than what Cags has, but his ceiling isn't quite as high as a lot of the guys that are on the list above him for me.
Yeah.
So
I I get the ceiling argument a little bit, but I think I've loved the progression he's had. He really struggled at the beginning of the season,
yeah.
just adjusting to major league pitching. And since April 2030, slashing 290, 345, 444, 8 homers, 5 stolen bases over that time frame. He's just getting more and more comfortable. That sprint speed's really
Mhm.
good. I love the polish in his profile. Like, I think he's so safe. He might never be a top 5 outfielder, but I think you know exactly what you're getting from him, and that's why I just have him higher than some. I feel like once you get past, like, probably Tatis, like, my or the top 10, I think the only differences in our top 10 are I have PCA in and you have Kyle Tucker, but 9 of our top 10 are the same players. And so I feel like that's a pretty consensus group. And then after that, it just kind of becomes almost feels like the wild, wild west. Like, you have all these players that are highly valued. Like we mentioned, all of our top 25, mine ranking in the top 93, yours ranking your top 85. But it feels like there's just so much discrepancy. Michael Harris, like, he's been really bad for dynasty managers and he's been really, really good. You've Kyle Tucker. Is he starting to fall off? Why Langford can't stay healthy? Roman Anthony's not healthy, and the performance production's been inconsistent. Like, I feel like you have so many of these players where it's just like, what am I getting? Whereas Ben, I have more ups. I have the upside because he's still young and he's developing. He's already showing. I mean, his power. If you look at his rolling charts in PLB, his power is like off the charts, while everything else remains consistently at least average, which I
Yeah.
really like. And he's proving that he can do it and he gives you that base. So I think that's why I have him so high. Might be a little aggressive to put him over some of the names like Kyle Tucker, Michael Harris, but I think he's a profile I'm really buying into in dynasty leagues.
Yeah.
Uh, This player, the next player on our discrepancy list is Julio Rodriguez because Martin ranks him at fifth. I rank him at ninth, and that's not a big discrepancy there. But when you're talking about a player that's ranked so highly, I think it is. And I think objectively, I think my ranking is probably the one that's incorrect, if you can have an incorrect ranking here. Because when you look at what Julio's done throughout his career, I mean, 32 homers, 30 stolen bases last year, 20 homers, 24 stolen bases in 2024, 32 homers, 37 stolen bases in 2023, already 14 homers, 12 stolen bases in 2026. I can't help but feel disappointed when I roster Julio Rodriguez, and I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. I don't know if the expectations are too high. I don't know if it's just he's really solid and he plays 150 games. Like, Acuna's always hurt. James Wood has strike. Like, I don't know if that's it. He just plays consistently, and so then his counting stats end up being really good by the end of the year, and that can sometimes be overlooked. But is it just me? Like, I feel disappointed by Julio Rodriguez when I roster him.
Yeah, I think it's the streakiness. I think it's because he's a notorious slow starter. So at some point you're so mad at him, you're just like, whatever. He's a plug and play guy. But then you look down and June 1st and he's got 3 home runs and 8 steals and he's hitting 230, and you're like, what's going on with this guy? But then when the door closes at the end of September and he's got another 30-30 season, you're like, oh, he did it again. And the fact that he's got 14 and 12 already this year is actually kind of encouraging because that makes me think that he's going to end up with 40 because in the second half he's a complete monster. And so, but yeah, with Julio, I mean, I think you said the skills are really good. He could really use some work in his plate discipline, but if he could ever figure that out and just be a little bit, less prone to chase and make a little bit more consistent contact. I think he's a guy that easily could be a top 5 overall player in Dynasty. But I see the guys that you've got in front of him. You've got Jordan, Churio, PCA. I mean, Jordan, when he's healthy, he's about as good of a hitter as you're going to find in baseball. Just pure
It's like
hitter.
him and Soto.
Yeah.
You can't find better hitters.
Yeah. His problem is he doesn't run and he's got some injury concerns. Churio, basically, for me, his profile is almost the exact same as what Rodriguez is. His plate discipline's a little bit better, but as far as quality of contact, the speed, all of that is all in line with me. And then with PCA, same thing, just super streaky. We've seen him hit rock bottom, and we've seen him be a complete monster. And so for me with PCA, Julio's floor is so much higher. But his ceiling may not be as high as PCA's, which is scary because consider Julio one of those, elite guys, and PCA could be elite if he hits that ceiling. There's just so much room for error with his profile versus Julio. It just feels a lot more safe. Even with his streakiness, he's still going to be a 30-30 guy. PCA, before he got hot, it was looking like he was going to struggle to get to 2020. So
yeah, now he's already up to 17-20 this year for PCA. I mean, it's incredible, the streakiness. It's insane. I want to look at PCA's pace since he's heated up. Let's find an arbitrary starting point for that.
Yeah,
let's say May 26th. We're gonna throw. He hit a home run on May 26th. This is the fun part about just picking arbitrary dates and saying I'm gonna start on this date. When did he really heat up? We're going to say May 6th. In his last 221 plate appearances, he has 14 homers and 13 stolen bases. So I'm just going to take 600 divided by 221, 2.7 times 14, 38 homers and 35 stolen bases. That's not even as high. I feel like recently it's been even better. But just absurd numbers, absolutely absurd numbers. If we want to talk about absurd numbers too, I did look at Julio Rodriguez's monthly split this year. 2 home runs in April, 10 in May, 2 in June. I feel like that's the issue. It's like you have one good month and you blink and you miss it. And then you're like, this guy's just like above replacement level. Like he's like good. But then like he throws in best hitter in baseball months, and then it evens out to be great dynasty. I have PCA, Churio, and Julio all ranked 3 in a row, 18-20 in my overall ranking. So I don't really think there's that much of a discrepancy between them, obviously. But at that point, it's a coin flip for me. Another player that I just don't fully know what to do with is Byron Buxton. He's hurt again. I ranked him at 24th. You ranked him up at 14th. I know you said you're probably going to move him down. He's 32 years old. He'll be 33 at the start of next season. He's never played in he played 140 back in 2017, but he played in 126 games last year. That was his most since 2017. Like the production's really good when healthy, but I just don't know how much dynasty managers are going to be able to count on that moving forward.
Yeah, he's in obviously, of course, he's hurt right now because he's in the healthiest stretch he's had of his career. But I mean, like we talked about the upside and what guys can do when everything is going, and when Buck is going, I mean, this is a guy that's the elite of the elite. We're talking about a guy that's 35, 25, 35, 30, 40, 30. I mean, the sky is the limit when he's healthy. And other than age, I don't see a scenario right now where I would take Benge, Anthony, Pages, DeLauder, Soderstrom, or Green above Buxton right now. Other than age. Age is obviously, which in
that's
Dynasty
a factor.
Is a lot. Right, yeah. But as far as like pure production goes, I mean, he's as good as it gets. If he was 25 doing what he's doing right now, this is a guy we'd probably have in the top 10 overall because he's just that good. But it's a big risk. So I don't think 14 is necessarily too aggressive. I probably should have him more in like the 18 to 21 range. But I still, I mean, I'd take him over Rooker all day long. I would take him over Bellinger all day long. I would take him over Pajes all day long. So, I mean,
I think my concern is how many more years are you going to get this production for if he's going to be
yeah. Well,
33?
he's not losing a step because he hasn't played. So he's got a beat up body,
That's
but he doesn't have a
true.
lot of miles on the car. So
That's true.
he's got some dents that need fixed, but there's not a lot of highway miles. It's a lot of highway miles on this car. So
That's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe 24 is a little bit low considering he does already have 25 home runs this
I mean,
year. So it doesn't matter whether you're getting 150 games or if you're getting 90 games if he can hit 25 home runs.
I mean, he's like the same age as Aaron Judge, right? And Judge is starting to he's having issues, year after year now with injuries. So, I mean, obviously Buxton has not done what Judge has done. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if you're looking at age specifically, they're not far apart. And Judge is a guy that we consider to be top 20 overall, 25 overall in Dynasty easily. So
I guess what matters for dynasty managers here is this is where your league type really matters. If you're in a roto league and you compare Buxton's production for 80 games with replacement level production for another 50, 60 games, that's perfect. And that is an elite dynasty asset because he's giving you that full season production in a shortened period versus I personally play, and maybe that's evident in my rankings, I play in almost entirely head-to-head leagues. I play in one roto league. And so Buxton being healthy for the beginning part is great, but if I can't count on him in September, then that really tanks my my season overall and impacts my production. So I think that's a good point and something for dynasty managers and even just regular fantasy managers to really consider when you're building out a roster. Martin, you mentioned Jac Caglianone, 17th for me, not ranked for you. Where does he come in your rankings?
I've got him at 32, so he's top 120 overall, which is fine. And there's a pretty good chance he's going to come up a little bit here. I mean, obviously I love the power, but the profile still has the flaws. And the good thing is we knew the flaws coming in. He's had the same profile since day one at Florida that he has now. It's chasing too much outside the zone, which hurts his contact rates a lot. His zone contact rate is actually dipping a little bit too. It's not even at 80% right now, which is kind of concerning because that's always been his bread and butter, right? You could deal with the chase, you could deal with all of that because when he was in the zone, he was making elite contact rates or near elite contact rates with the power. And those are starting to dip a little bit too. Obviously, it's the major leagues now. It's not the minors anymore. So there's part of it. But I mean, we're talking about a guy that if he could just tidy up the plate discipline just a tad and just focus on that, like we talked about with Walker, the zone swing rate and getting in and not chasing outside the zone, he could be elite. But he hasn't, and he might not. And this is, like I said, it's the same guy, same profile since day one that he had, and as a prospect that he's had back to college. I mean, at least he's consistent in that regard. But the other thing too, the ballpark absolutely sucks. He's got the type of power that could probably, overcome that.
Right.
But that's a team they're not great either. And that hurts him too. Team context has not been great. I think Cags is probably going to end up being a top 100 guy at some point in the next 2 or 3 months if he continues at this pace. But yeah, good player. Still some flaws that concern me, but everyone's got him.
Yeah, I think he doesn't even have 600 plate appearances under his belt at the major league level. And so I think that's a big step. And over his last 100 plate appearances, he's on pace for, 45 homers, 120 runs and RBIs. So even on a bad team, he's producing elite numbers there at 23 years old. So the contact skills aren't great. The plate discipline's not perfect, but I think he's got that kind of upside that you can target that can be 40 plus homer value. And I think his position being outfield right now for the foreseeable future, at least, is an important boost as well. I know he's been playing a lot of first base lately, but he'll have outfield eligibility. I don't think that's going anywhere, even with Vinny P's struggles and injuries. So
Mhm.
he's somebody I'm in on. I don't think. What did you say? He came in at 120 for you or something.
Yeah.
I've got him. I actually have him up at 60, so I have him fairly higher. But I don't
Mhm.
think 120. I don't think. I think being skeptical here is a totally fair approach. It's just if you wait any longer to buy in, there's a good chance you're not able to buy in, and it might already be too late. In dynasty leagues, speaking about buying in early and getting ahead, Martin, who are some outfield prospects that dynasty managers can be looking to buy in on now before their value skyrockets even higher?
Yeah, one of my favorite guys right now is Charles Davalin, Dodgers prospect, 41st overall pick last year. A little bit undersized, but it is what it is. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. I mean, this is a guy that's got an outstanding hit tool. He's making contact, 83% overall, 92% in the zone. He's walking more than he's striking out, which you always love to see. He's hitting the ball in the air with regularity. He's got a pull A rate of 25%. I mean, he's at least an above average runner. He's not an elite runner, but he's got high baseball IQ. He's using his instincts to steal bases. And he's just a really good baseball player and a guy that I'm really trying to get as many shares of as I can. So he's my first guy. The second guy is Dylan Dreiling, which he came out of Tennessee, and he's got one of those bodies that he's not going to grow at all. He's not very big either. He's like 5'11", 190. He only hit 226 his first pro season, but this year he's up to 284, 367, 453. The hit tool is actually really advanced, but he's really, really passive. His zone swing rate is 57%, which is really, really low. And there's still a little bit too much ground ball for my liking. I think he's at like 48% or so. The thing with Dreiling is that he's probably not going to be a big source of power in the long term, but he's going to be a high batting average guy. He likes to hit the ball to the opposite field. He's not going to pull the ball a ton. I think it's just one of those high profile or high floor profiles that he's just going to contribute in all five categories. He'll never be elite, but I think we're talking about a guy that's going to be really solid as like a fourth outfielder in the major leagues. So.
No, I think both of those are great prospects to buy in on. I'm going to go two prospects with very similar profiles. Hayden Alvarez to start Los Angeles Angels. I was pretty in on him last year in my rankings, dropped him a little bit to start this year. That was a mistake. I should have just left him high because now he's flying back up. Last season, he hit 340, 33 stolen bases with 2 home runs as an 18-year-old, but split between the complex league and low A. This year, he's back in low A as a 19-year-old. He's still hitting 308. The difference is he's up to 8 home runs already in 70 games, and he's still running at an incredible rate, 39 stolen bases. Just a big time athlete, really good baseball instincts. He's big, he's 6'3", he's projectable. Seeing that power tick up was last year it was a bet on size. This year it's him really filling out that frame, putting it all together, getting to more game power there. His fly ball rate is up 8%. His pull rate is up 4%. So he's getting to that power. He walks a lot. He makes really good contact. I think Hayden Alvarez has top 25 prospect potential there. I think there is 20 plus home run power in that bat and profile. There's 40 to 50 stolen base potential, really high contact skills and on base percentages. So Hayden Alvarez is somebody I can't advocate for enough. And then just a little bit lower in my rankings is Jason Churio, Jackson Churio's brother. So Chorio is somebody that the dynasty community was quick to get in on, with Chorio being the last name. That obviously fueled a little bit of hype. And then he had ground ball issues. He wasn't getting any game power. He was still walking a lot and running a lot, but that was pretty much it. 2025 was a down year as well. He only
Mhm.
stole 10 bases, hit 237. Everybody kind of really uh, kicked him to the curb after that season. Another testament for not giving up too early on prospects you believe in and that have athleticism. If you see it with your eyes when you're scouting, even if he's not reflected on ranking lists, trust your eyes, trust your projection. Obviously, use experts, use scouts, but trust what you believe because this year he's really putting it all together. He's hitting for more power. There's still a ground ball issue there. He's still not getting the ball in the air more, but he's already up to 6 home runs on the season, which is a career high. The stolen bases are back. You really have to wonder if he was just hurt for a lot of last season. For some reason, I feel like I remember reading something that said he was
He
battling
was.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I forget what it was.
I think it hurt at the end of 24 season is what it was, and it lingered.
I was like, I feel like I remembered seeing, I remember seeing something, unless Martin and I are just making this up together and we're gaslighting
He was
each
hurt at some point.
But
he broke his wrist at the end of 24, and then he hurt his shoulder at the beginning of 25.
Yeah, so that's an easy explanation. The stolen bases are back. The plate discipline still looks as good as ever. He has good feel for getting to his pull side. I want to see that fly ball rate increase a little bit more, but it's encouraging that he already has a career high in home runs. He's still only 21 years old. He's up in Double-A, so I don't think his potential is quite as high as Hayden Alvarez's, but those are two prospects, Churio and Alvarez. I think dynasty managers should definitely be getting in on.
Yeah.
Martin, any closing thoughts on outfield or dynasty in particular before we wrap this episode up?
No, I don't think so. Just one of those positions that is sneaky shallow as far as like quality. I think we talked about the platoon issues and things like that. And there's the elite of the elite, from 1 to, we'll say, like 12. And then there's that dip into the tier 2 guys, and then there's a really quick fall off to tier 3 as well. So a lot of flawed profiles, a lot of high floor guys, and there's also a lot of low floor guys. So tread lightly at the outfield position. Build that depth.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, that's going to do it for episode 8 of Destination Dynasty. This will come out on Sunday, and thank you all for listening. Have a good rest of your day and night.